Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another video where I talk about levels and whether or not I like them. And today's video topic is about bad level remakes. When a level attempts to do a remake of the original level and potentially try to make it better, but fails in some or most aspects that in some cases, it comes out worse than the original. Now, while I will be talking bad about the levels I'm about to mention, I will say that making a good remake is pretty hard, especially if the original level is not made by the creator. Once again, these are purely my opinion, and if you don't agree, more power to you. And also, don't send hate to the creators or the levels mentioned. Once again, making a good remake is hard, and I actually commend these creators for going out of their way to make these remakes. Without further ado, let's start the video with... Oh boy, Acropolis. Before I start talking about Acropolis, let me talk about the original level, Acropolis. Out of all the iconic Zobros levels, I feel like Acropolis is one of the more easier ones to remake alongside 9 Circles. I mean, most of the decoration is like one block type with some of them only changing colors, so really, all you need to do is expand on it a little bit. Acropolis did the brave thing and added nothing new and somehow made it look worse than Acropolis. The main problem I have with Acropolis is that it is too bright. Acropolis' dark look fits with its claustrophobic structuring and creates this intimidating atmosphere. It makes you feel like you're walking through an ancient ruined city. I mean, that's why it's called Acropolis, right? Acropolis looks like it just got cleaned and wiped. Everything is just so shiny, and I know that's the fault of the blocks they used, but still, it is not a good look in my opinion. And the brighter part of the bricks is just so bright, it clashes so much with the dark bricks, it looks terrible. The second problem I have with Acropolis is the background. The background in Acropolis are these subtle scattered bricks, which fits very well with its ruined city look. Acropolis, for some reason, replaced it with a very generic moving background. Granted, we still see the scattered bricks throughout the level, but it is such a little amount and the opacity is so low, you can barely notice it. And the worst part is, the background is the color of the brighter bricks, so it kinda loses the intimidating and claustrophobic atmosphere. And finally, the moving objects are kinda rough looking. Now, I can actually kinda excuse this one, cause maybe this was made early on in the 2.0 update, and a lot of early 2.0 levels have some very rough movements. But even then still, the moving objects just look so jank. So yeah, Acropolis is not really a good remake due to it adding pretty much nothing new to the original. When I first heard that there was a 2.1 remake of Zero Kabi, I actually got pretty excited. Zero Kabi is one of my favorite levels ever, and while I love how the level looks, I will say that it may put some people off due to it looking a bit weird and dated, so a modernization of it is welcome to me. So I took a look at Zero Kabi and I was severely disappointed. They turned one of the most unique levels I have ever seen in the 2.0 era and then turned it into a typical 2.1 Roy Moosey level. All of its charm and its cool effects are just gone and replaced with generic Roy Moosey decoration. The changing block design effect that was present in the first dual cube part in the original Zero Kabi is just gone, and now we only have a simple pulsing effect. It doesn't feel as chaotic as the original. And then the wave. I mean, it looks kinda cool, but again, compared to the original, it just doesn't hit the same. I just kinda wish there are a lot more teleporting going on. But after that, the ship I will say is a slight improvement. Mainly because the original part was my least favorite of Zero Kabi. In Zero Kabi, not only does it look slightly cooler, but the use of the teleport portals look pretty cool too, and I think it actually implements it better than the original Zero Kabi. The UFO, again, it has the same problem with the dual cube. Without the changing block design effect, it just doesn't feel the same. And also there are Zero's teleportation, which was the whole gimmick of the original UFO part, so that's pretty disappointing. The orb maze, my god, what have they done to you? Here's the thing about the original orb maze in Zero Kabi. The orbs moving rapidly actually acts as a decoration. It makes this mesmerizing look where you have to look everywhere. But the one in Zero Kabi just feels so dead, and instead of moving rapidly, it's just orbs that are just kinda there and moves once in a while. But the part that killed me the most is the cube corridor. The cube corridor in the original, it's cool, it's slick, and the fact that you can see what's going on next on the top right corner, it's just so cool. The cube corridor in the remake just feels so empty and so void of life. And finally, we ended off with an okay looking ship part. This level was so disappointing to me, man, because it could have been good. Heck, I'd argue that a Zender game style level would actually be pretty good for a Zero Kabi remake. But alas, we got a Roy Musti level instead. Oh man, Silent Circles. This level is probably the only level in this list where most of the problems I have is with the gameplay. And to understand that, we need to first look at the difficulty. This level was supposed to be top 1 at the time, but got nerfed to a slightly lower top 40, which is just very disappointing. Now listen, I'm not against nerfing. Heck, I was one of Trust's defender when he nerfed Yadagarasu. But I feel like if you're gonna remake an impossible level, especially the one with silent in the name, you're kinda forced to make the level top 1 or at least top 3 difficulty. And for my second point, let's look at the original Silent Circles. Quickly, what's the first thing you think of when you think about Silent Circles? I assume your answer will be the wave spam at the end. Because yeah, that's the most iconic part of Silent Circles. Now obviously, no human being is able to pass this wave spam, but maybe if we make a slightly nerfed version of it that's humanly possible, we could finally have a possible version of Silent Circles. So where is it in the remake? The thing that made Silent Circles iconic is just gone in the remake, but why? But if you keep the spam and make it pushable, the gameplay wouldn't be as good or fun, some of you might say. And like, yeah, that's kinda the sacrifice you have to make when making a remake of goddamn Silent Circles. If you remove the most iconic part of Silent Circles, you just have another 9 Circles Extreme Demon. Now let's look at something similar like Sakupen Circles. While I am not a fan of the level, something like Sakupen Circles work because it still keeps the most iconic part of the original, albeit nerfed, while still having slight changes from the original gameplay. And whenever they see that specific part, people will instantly say Sakupen Circles. You give someone the replaced part in Silent Circles and people would probably not recognize that it's trying to be a remake of the impossible level. As for the decoration itself, it's fine, it sort of works for a 9 Circles level. The only complaint I have is the beginning is a bit too blinding for me. So yeah, Silent Circles is just a big disappointment. I actually argued with myself on whether or not I should put this level here. The reason is because I thought this was just some random level I stumbled upon back then and not some moderately popular remake. That was until I actually searched for it and realized that it's played by people like Dorami, Andromeda, and He Who Shall Not Be Named. This level sucks, dude, I'm sorry. This just proves that making a good remake to Death Moon, one of the most iconic levels in Geometry Dash, is one of the hardest things you could do. The problem with Death Moon Rebirth is that it doesn't add more to Death Moon. In fact, it actually adds less, or I guess decrease. All of the things that made Death Moon as iconic as it is replaced by a generic 2.0 background. Like for example, a lot of the highly detailed art in the original Death Moon is just gone and replaced with a half-ass attempt at it. The part that broke me the most was the last wave part. The original has this cool effect where it constantly flashes images, but Rebirth has it replaced with goddamn Sonic Wave Rebirth. There's only one part that I say looks kinda cool, which is on the Dark Cube part, but that's really it. Now okay, maybe there's a reason the backgrounds are not as complicated. Maybe it's because of 2.0's object limit and the creator didn't know how to bypass it. Besides, Death Moon did use an object limit hack back then, so it's sort of understandable. Now let's see how many objects this level had. 48,000 objects! That's more than the original Death Moon! God, this just gets worse and worse, I'm telling you. Now listen, I get the argument of maybe this was made for fun. Maybe the creator just wants to make their own version of a level they like. But here's the thing, and I'm not trying to sound mean, but whether or not it's made for fun or made seriously, it's not free from criticism. If I don't like it, then I'll say what I don't like about it. If I do like it, then I'll say what I do like about it. All I have to say is give The Big Day by Chance the Rapper a single listen, and you'll understand that things made for fun isn't free from criticism. And so yeah, that's why I think that Death Moon Rebirth is what I consider a really bad remake. So that's all I have for you all today. Did you agree or disagree with my opinions? Maybe there's also a level you feel should be in this video. Leave your suggestions in the comments and maybe I'll include it if I ever make a sequel to this video. And also, check out my other stuff in my other social media accounts. That's all I have for you today. I'll see you all later. Bye bye.